What's up, guys? Just doing a bit of light tackle today. Bait caster and a piece of an octopus on a hook. Fishing right up by the shore. Fish on. There we go. Nice little piggy perch. Come here, buddy. Beautiful fish. Love these guys. Just such great colors. Absolutely fantastic. That bite came in about 10 seconds. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's get him back. Up. That's where he gets his name. So a lot of these fish, a lot of grunters, or even trout and red drum, things like that. Think about, where does the drum get its name? Well, they have teeth in the back of their throat that they use to crush invertebrates. And that's what makes that crunching noise. Giant trevally do the same thing. I've never caught a GT, but if you ever watch a video where somebody does, if you go to like Briggsy, one of the better fishing channels on YouTube, catches loads of GT, and you can hear them crunch, crunch, crunch in the back of the throat. Same thing as that little fish, just a scaled up version. Right. It's a croaker. A little guy. There we go. He actually took a piece of a sardine that I put on. I'm going to keep this. I was hoping to catch at least one or two of these, so this is going to be bait. There's a lot of small sharks out here today, and I want to try to get at least one for the camera, so this guy is ours. Spider on my camera lens. Anyway, I can see a load of bait fish right in front of us, and that lady over there behind me in the pink shirt caught a pretty big speckled trout in a cast net just a few minutes ago. So I put a spoon on, and I'm just going to have a few throws with this, see if we can't get anything. Alright. Change of spots. We just came down about 100 yards further out. Not too far, we're not even halfway down the jetty, but you don't have to be that far for the type of fishing we're doing today. Switching up the bait now, I'm using a bit of a sardine. Very lovely little fish. Soft bait though, so you gotta be careful. I like to start with the tail section first. Alright, so that's the rig. It's a double drop, so three-way swivel. Coming down to a second three-way swivel, down to a gripper lead. So that's what we're left with right there. And the tail section is tough enough that you can get away with one hook, or hooking it through the bait once. With the middle of the fish, I like to run the hook through 2 times. Once on top, once beneath. So let's get this out. We're into a good sized fish. stingray. It's a big ray. There we go. Nice sized ray. You can see what I'm doing. I've got obviously its tail and that spine bound up in this towel, and I've got my forefingers in its spiracles, which are actually the entranceways to the gills, and then you can actually see the gill flaps underneath. Really beautiful fish. Absolutely love these guys. I had a feeling it was a ray. It took a dive down at the last second, and it just stood on the bottom. And that's not typical of any fish but a ray. Let me show you why these guys have their unfortunate reputation. Check that out. That is bad news right there. If you step on one of these animals, that's the way it's going to let you know to get back off of him. They're not naturally aggressive, not by any stretch. You'd have to be lucky to find one. But should you step in the wrong place at the wrong time, that could be waiting for you. Absolutely lovely. Wonderful animal. Let me show you the whole guy in profile. Just fantastic, fantastic fish. So pleased to have that. So pleased to have that. Alright, let me show you why I always tie monofilament or fluorocarbon to my braid when I'm fishing on the beach. It's because that ray took that line right around a rock, and just look at that. Just stripped the edges right off of it. You know, luckily, you fish long enough, you can tell when a fish takes your line around a rock. It's a very, very distinct feeling. Imagine you're in a game of tug of war with somebody and you can feel that direct contact and they've skirted around a rock. It's like you can still feel that weight, but there's something hindering it. It's like it's not direct anymore. That contact is impeded somehow. And you can feel that through a fishing line, and I knew that ray had dove down close enough to those rocks that I was probably hung up on one. So I just gave him a little bit of slack, let him work himself around it, and he bolted and we lifted him back up. But if I had been using braids straight down to my leader, that would have been a lost fish. There's no way in the world that braid would have been able to stand up to a rock the way this 30-pound mono did. Well worth doing. Now we just got to retie it. Feisty fish. Look out. Quite a fish, this. Lovely. Love that purple shine on these guys. It's a decent sized whiting. This is about the time you start seeing these big bull whiting come up into the surf. Fantastic fish. Let's get him back. Nice little sand trout. Very pretty fish. One of the prettiest fish in the Gulf of Mexico, in my opinion. When the light hits these guys just right, they are just a rainbow of colors. Just fantastic. Love these guys. Love those big, huge eyes. That is a sight predator's eye. Just wonderful. Let's go ahead and get him back. These guys, these are more fragile than a lot of other species. They don't last quite as long. One more sand trout. Those two teeth, those two fangs up top for gripping small fish. Just a beautiful animal. Lovely coloration on these guys. Just absolutely gorgeous. They almost look like a shrunken down tarpon. Just fantastic. Let's get him back. Love these fish. check you out. Look at that. That's a new species for me. And you know what? I'm not even entirely certain what that is. It's got the basic body shape of a mackerel. It doesn't have the patterning. Maybe a bluefish, but I didn't think they lived this far south. Really neat looking fish. Big predator's jaws. Very sharp teeth. Just took a pinch out of my finger. Big eyes for sight feeding. And that tail, that symmetric tail, just made for speed, for cutting through the water. Oh, a fantastic looking little fish. Let's get him back. Quite a day so far. Well, it almost wasn't a beach fishing day, but fear not. We got a catfish. Oh, this guy. Be careful with these. Always careful. Just foul hooked under the front pectoral fin. I'm not going to try to catch that. Not my favorite by any stretch. I don't think they're anyone's favorites, but they are worth looking at when you can see the colors highlighted like this, that blue and black in the tail. A lot like channel catfish, they have that black outline on their tail. Instead of purple though, this one is just this bright iridescent blue. It's actually quite a pretty fish. Just bait thief. Throw him back. All right, we are headed back. I've had enough today. Didn't want to stay out here all day, and we're not going to. We're staying committed to that. So it turns out that fish was in fact a bluefish. I did a little bit of research. Interesting, typically bluefish don't come further south than Florida, but that most certainly was a bluefish. And MDLR Fishing, if you follow that channel, you should go follow it. He was out here the other day, and he caught a snook, which is also a fish that almost never comes further south than Florida. Or at the very least, you don't find it in this particular stretch of water south of Florida. So it's very interesting that those two fish turned up fairly close to each other in this stretch of water. Yeah, but we had a impressive haul today, Constable Butterman. Pope. Now, what did we get? We got a couple of trout. Those sand trout were nice. We got that perch, we got a croaker, we got a fair-sized whiting. Of course, we got a hardhead. It wouldn't be beach fishing if we didn't. A bluefish, of all things, and a stingray. So, nice day. I'm quite pleased. I'm heading home happy. And I'll see you guys later.